Is Monday, October 14th, 2019. I'd like to call the Charles City Community School District Board of Education regular meeting to order with roll call vote, please. Terry?
Committee member?
Here.
Walker?
Here.
Wright?
Here.
Bryan?
Here.
Mack?
Here.
Hilton?
Here.
Resiska absent.
Agenda item number 2, reading of the district mission, vision statement, and core values by Director Form.
Our vision is to engage, inspire, and empower students and staff in order to maximize learning. And our mission is regardless of who you are or what your story is, you can learn and be ours.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3, approval of agenda.
We have one change. That's that we table on the consent agenda under G, Karen Lander's lane change. There's still some questions on, within the collective bargaining agreement on the eligibility of that lane change. So Terry and I are going to meet with the employee and get that resolved next week, but we needed to table that for tonight. And we'll have that back in front of you for future consideration later.
Thank you.
Move to approve the agenda as directed. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Moving on to agenda item number 4, we'd like to welcome visitors and anyone having public comment. If you notice in our agenda, we do have our guidelines for public comment. For anything that is not on the agenda tonight, anyone wishing to make public comment, step to the mic. Agenda item number 5, comments by board members and superintendent.
So under our goal 1 of equity and student achievement, I'm very proud of our staff for the most recent professional learning day. We have had rich conversations about equity and how we can continue to be a regardless school that reaches all kids, regardless of their story. Our staff is pushing themselves in new and unique ways, and we honor their work on this. Really wanted to give a shout out, especially Brian Jerns has done some great professional work with our teachers around race and equity and implicit bias, and so we'll work with our staff on that. Second goal of culture and climate. Homecoming went very well. I was most impressed with our students doing community service all throughout town, so you see that all over the place. We also had students leading our field day for the elementary students. We got it in before the rain, so that was great. But seeing all of our elementary K4 at Washington, pre-K4, and then having, gosh, it must have been like 60 high school students helping out. It was a beautiful day. It was a day of passion for the leaders. And finally, facilities and infrastructure. Work continues on with our baseball and softball fields. Currently, they are on time and on schedule for completion. In addition, the college grounds project to improve and recrown the practice fields is underway. As you can see, we're so happy that we'll have a high-quality practice field at the college grounds with improved drainage. The field will be regulation size and allow for improved soccer, football, music practice. So that's what's going on in the district.
I want to make sure to remind everybody that tickets for Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat are on sale. I had a student bring me my poster to put in the window at work today, so that's coming up. People can go online or go to the Central Services office and get those tickets. I did check online this afternoon, and since tickets went on sale, since it's all reserved seating, tickets are selling fast for the good seats, so make sure everybody gets that figured out and get their tickets ordered. Also went last week to Dyke with Superintendent Fisher to a cross-country meet, and Charles City is hosting conference cross-country tomorrow night here in town. So it'll be a bit chilly, but it'll be a good race and a good time for everybody, I'm sure.
Thank you, Scott. Additional board members, student board members?
I'd like to say that homecoming went pretty well. At least most people I met enjoyed it. I know I went to comp system, and all the people I went with there, you can tell the disabled people really enjoy our company. They enjoy their skills.
I'll look forward to your presentation.
Yes, I do have that pulled up. So,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Moving on to agenda item number 6, committee reports. City Only Committee we had was facilities.
Scott's going to handle that. I was absent.
Facilities met over a week ago, and Robin sat in Jason's place. went over primarily the sports complex, and then talked about the college grounds with the improvements for soccer and other things that are going there, and started having conversations about things that we'll bring to the table eventually, future projects and budgets for the next year. Those conversations have started.
Moving on to agenda item number 7, National Principals Month. National Principals Month is an opportunity to hashtag thank your principal for the great things they do. The board will recognize Kara Shannon from Washington, Marcia DeVore of Lincoln, Joe Taylor at the middle school, Tom Harskamp at the middle school, Brian Jerns at the high school, and Larry Wolf at the high school. Thank you. You must be here. Thank you very much. This is an action item. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to recognize and thank Kara Shannon of Washington, Marcia DeVore of Lincoln, Joe Taylor at the middle school, Tom Harskamp at the middle school, Brian Jerns at the high school, Larry Wolf at the high school for their contributions to the Charles City Community School District.
Second. I have a motion and a second to recognize and thank Kara Shannon of Washington, Marcia DeVore of Lincoln, Joe Taylor at the middle school, Tom Harskamp at the middle school, Brian Jerns at the high school, and Larry Wolf at the high school for their contribution to the Charles City Community School Districts. Is there any additional discussion, comments? Just to say thank you very much. It's a very difficult job at time to us, and I know it's also a rewarding job and for guidance with our teachers. It's wonderful. Thank you. I'll go for a vote then. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 8, student leadership presentation. Joe Taylor, middle school principal, and John Harskamp, associate principal, and the student leadership team will provide a program report on their goal. Progress report.
I'll fix it. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Yep.
Well, thank you. I don't really, forgot to speak in the microphone and this mess right now. Great.
It goes better over, it broadcasts better on top.
All right, fantastic. I guess I'll blush. We've had the incredible opportunity to work in this on our student leadership committee that was brought together after our work with our strat that identified our big initiatives that we were going to just focus on for this school year and the school year to come. And really, we settled on student leadership and then the other initiatives that you guys are going to be hearing about as the things that are going to give us the most bang for our buck and the most return on investment. And I can tell you that it's already starting to pay off. You're going to have some students, speakers are going to come up and talk a little bit about just some of the base level stuff that's happening in our school that's really organic. So Tom and I have been working on building our vision around what this is going to look like, and just trying to figure out what this means for not only for our 512 but also district-wide.
All right, so just like in all we do, we model, so our learning targets, we're trying to encourage this from our teachers as well. We're going to introduce you to a team of people that are part of our staff. You're going to get some students here as well. Go through the definition, some success criteria we've come up with as a team. We're going to highlight some of the success, talk about some staff and the students. We don't have any staff with us tonight, but the students are going to share, and we're going to have some updates of things that have happened already that are in the works. So first off, what's one thing I usually do, Miss Bailey, in our staff PDs, I usually show a video of some sort, so we do have a little video. I don't know if you're familiar with who Inky Johnson is. Now it's just going to take a little bit. Justin's going to go to Twitter and bounce around here a little bit, but and hopefully the sound is
better together. We really understand what that means. Because sometimes the thing about life always comes along when we make up our mind and try to distract us. But truth be told, we all know that we're stronger together. And that's in every aspect of life, whether it be sports, whether it be business, whether it be a marriage, whether it be a family, we're always stronger together. It's kind of like the Planet of the Apes movie when Caesar and his guys, they were going crazy, they were going bananas, and Caesar stood back on the hill, and Caesar was trying to calm them down, and they wouldn't calm down, and they wouldn't listen to him, and the way he got their attention was phenomenal. The way he got their attention, he picked up a piece of straw. Caesar picked up one silly piece of straw and he held it up in front of him. He picked up one straw and he broke it. And then he picked up 2 handfuls of straws and he braced it. And what he was telling them, alone, we can do nothing. Together, strong, unstoppable, and change the world.
So, the reason we're doing the student leadership is we believe if kids are connected with, in some way, they're gonna go to bat for each other, go to bat for their staff and our district as a whole. So, it was in that one. So we're pretty jacked about all the stuff. Had Mike, my one-on-one with Mike today. He was geeking out with me. It's been great. So, that is. So, real quick, the team of people.
Yeah. So we got together with a team of people and we started thinking about who are some personalities that we needed to be part of this initiative. And our team really consisted of, put me on the spot, myself, Mr. Harskamp, Larry Wolf, Dan Caffrey, Tyler Downing, Julie Holub, Carly Sickman, Sarah Downing, Abby Gomez, Sandy Johnson, Todd Forsythe, and Sherry Stoll. So we all got together and we started coming up with what our mission was, what are some of the things that what we were gonna define leadership as. And that was really our first job, is getting together and saying, all right, what are we all about? Why is this important? And how are we gonna gain momentum? After a lot of debate, it really came down to our family needs you to be the best version of yourself. That leadership has to start with self first. I have to lead myself in everything that I do, and then I can lead others. And a lot of times when we think of leadership, we think of somebody standing in front leading large groups of people, large crowds of people, or somebody who's super influential. And really, leadership in our building is just being the best version of yourself. And sometimes that does mean you get to lead 507 other people. And sometimes that you lead one. And we are, if we're committed to this, if we're committed to being the best version of ourselves, then we're going to start having those characteristics and traits of leadership.
Our success criteria by June 1st, having our student body will be 80% of our student body will be involved in some form of student leadership role by June 1st. And we have 2 pockets right now, 7th grade and the 10th grade class. Social studies are running a pilot of how to systematically put that in place. So we're not lucky in this process. We're leading and we're actually setting a system up where really anybody steps into that. They can put these kids in position to have leadership roles from all levels. And that's kind of what we're leading to and the vision that we have.
But sometimes you're lucky. And so we've been preaching and kind of standing in front of our kids and talking about leadership and leadership opportunities and going in great teachers like Brenda Bailey's and Julie Hull, and we've been saying, all right, what leadership roles do you guys have in your classroom? What leadership roles do we have in our school? What leadership roles do we have in our community? And then what are you guys passionate about? And we started just kind of plugging that. We plug in that every single day, consistent messaging over time, and lo and behold, I get some kids coming up to me during lunch and saying, hey, Mr. Taylor, are we going to have some school dances this year? And I'm like, I don't know, we have school dances this year. Make it happen. So what do? They get a whole committee of people together, they start planning it, they start dreaming it, and then I get another student that comes up to me and says, hey, Mr. Taylor, why don't we have a flag outside our school? I said, I don't know, why don't we have a flag outside? Well, we'd like to get one. Okay, make it happen. So these opportunities these kids are seeing are big, small, huge ramifications that now they're going outside and they're talking about it. We actually took these group of students. I got asked to speak at the Lions Club last week, and they came with me, and they did a great job on presenting their ideas to other people. So we're taking our leadership to other leaders as well. So we're going to have the girls come up here and share out, and I've got the gentlemen that are going to come share what leadership opportunities they've had in our school and how it came to be and what some of their dreams are.
So, as our mission, we wanted to make our school and our community a better, safer place. So we made our mission to help our community and our school a fun, safer, and better place. So by that we mean we want the community and the students more involved.
Some of our commitments are being a great role model, being mature, you have to be committed to what your expectations are, you have to be open-minded to other people's thinking and thoughts, and respect others.
This is important because it's giving students an opportunity to be more involved in after-school activities in our community. This is showing leadership because you're giving us our freedom and responsibility to help out in our school and community.
How did this group come to be? We got curious, then had an idea, then we asked about it, and we're trying to make it happen. From yours and the community's support, you're helping us become better, successful leaders.
Before you girls go down, would you please each introduce yourselves and give us your names, please?
I'm Kalia Richard. I'm Whitney Wall.
I'm Tuesday Collins.
And I'm Amelia Martin.
And which grade are you guys all in?
Eighth.
Eighth grade. Very good. Thank you very much.
So that's our social committee, and really they are dedicated to just that, to making our school a more social, engaging place. Now that's bleeding down. They've got some 7th grade members that are helping out. We're actually starting another one in 6th grade to help organize some things for our 5th and 6th graders as well. This is all organic. They meet during their time, during lunch. They come up with their commitments. They came up with their mission statement. All of that stuff is being led by them because it matters to them. Now, does that mean they're going to be perfect leaders? No, sometimes they mess up and they need to be reset, but that's all part of, they're going to fail forward on some of these things too. These next two gentlemen, they came to me with this idea and then they're rolling with it. So they've got a pretty big proposal put together as well.
I'm Brayden Ellis.
I'm Eric Cabot.
Our mission slash project is to build a flagpole outside of the middle school because we just thought we needed one because it just didn't feel right without a flagpole in front of our school.
Yeah, we've talked to several different associations and groups, and our goal is to talk to some local businesses to try and get some money fundraised for this project. Right now we're looking at about $7,000 to try and get this done properly. For the flagpole, we're looking at about $3,000 to get a good pole, but we talked to somebody at the scrapyard and we may be able to get a pole and refurbish it and then use that and that'll cut some costs. We're looking at doing some type of memorial at the bottom of the flagpole. We don't quite know yet what we're going to put on it or what it's going to be. That's just something that's going to work out in the future.
Yeah, so we talked to the Lions Club. Mr. Taylor mentioned that we went to the Lions Club meeting 2 weeks ago, and we just kind of told them like how we want to do it, that we done it right, and we want to do it correctly, properly. And we are planning on starting construction for this flagpole next spring because we don't want to start it and then not be able to finish it this fall.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right.
What was probably the most interesting is we're standing in front of 35 business people at the Lions Club, and the boys talk, and then the girls talk, and then the boys say, hey, I think we could probably use some of the fundraising that you guys are going to do from the dances. We can maybe use some of that to help build our flagpole. So we had this collaboration that was happening right there because of the opportunity that this leadership has brought. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and what I think is probably the most beneficial is both of these are organic. Nobody stood in front of them and said, hey, I need somebody to do this, or I need somebody to do that, or this is like, they had the idea, they had a dream, and now they're making it a reality.
So the pilots that we have going on, Rob Pittman and Sarah Downing in the high school are meeting with every sophomore. They've already rolled out the initial plan with them. Getting kids to give voice, the Google form that you see in the background there. We're We're going to do one with middle schoolers. I'm actually doing it tomorrow in our 21st Century Skills, getting them to vote on what are things that they want to be a part of, but then also letting them write in, I guess, having a write-in vote of things that they see. When we started highlighting these groups of young ladies and these gentlemen, we've had a lot of people come forward. We had a student come forward with a newspaper idea, like how come we don't have a school newspaper? And then, I don't know if those signs are still on the door, but even some notes being put up on the door. What's the
Porcelain.
The porcelain paper. So outside the bathroom, just general like lunch announcements and things that, hey, we don't have any lunch announcements anyway. Let's put them in the bathroom where everybody goes. So, and then we are ordering and looking for Mike to find money for us to buy these. No, I'm just kidding. But the leader wristbands and utilizing them as to the kids that are really stepping up over and over again. And honestly, maybe the kid who steps up one time, who's never really been a part of anything that goes out of their way. We've had that happen a bunch already. Me personally, with kids that are typically pretty reserved, maybe might be even considered a behavior issue, saying, hey, Mr. Harskamp, I can help you with that, which is pretty awesome to see. So I was able to attend, along with 10 other students and Dan Caffrey, the Ed Thomas Leadership Academy. This young lady was an 8th grader last year, and I didn't know who was going. When I picked him up in the morning with Mr. Caffrey, she hopped in my van. I was super pleased. Can't have favorites, but we've gone 3 years, I think. Mr. Caffrey's taken a bunch of kids. I know Ms. Walker's gone in the past. I'll let Kaylee talk a little bit. I'm going to ask her just some general questions about the experience. We'll talk about kind of what we believe could potentially be a Charles City type environment like this. So, do you have anything you want to share before I just ask you?
My name's Kaylee and I'm a freshman.
Very good. She introduced herself. Nice work. What was probably one of the things that you took away from the day event out at Appleton or Birchburg?
One thing that I really took away was how one person came up with this idea and changed it. Because how it originally started was this football coach. He got murdered, shot 7 times in the head by his former football player. And a bunch of people came together and decided to share his story and become like a leadership academy. So that was pretty sweet how one person did something.
Have you had a chance to, any other acronyms or things that you took away? I know we talked about one on the way home. This is the one high schooler that didn't put her earbuds in and get on her phone. She said, well, she didn't have data, that's why she didn't get on her phone, but we did talk on the way back. So do you remember any of those?
Getting better every day was one of them, and it's GBED, that's what it stands for. And then you can get better every day, or you can get worse, but you'll never be the same.
So, thank you very much. So, pretty awesome. And my thing, when I wanted to go and see it, I was blown away. It was pretty great. But I also look around and say there's a lot of great things that we have going on here. And so, one of the things that I'm meeting with Kaylee tomorrow, and 4 of the other students. I met with 5 today to talk about, okay, you got a day out of school, that's awesome. What are we taking and what are we doing? How are we making Charles City better? One of the phrases that Al Kearns used, great leaders include the excluded. And that was what I'm challenging these kids that went, hey, you know this information, your peers don't. How are you different? How are you going to be different moving forward? So, anything else you want to share? Okay. All right. That was the Ed Thomas Leadership Academy that I went to. Let me just finish.
Yeah, so really we're talking about creating multiple tiers of leadership. Everything from kids who step up and help out cleaning up the lunch tables, all the way to the tier 3 leaders of leaders, like the kids who can stand, like these guys right here. We want to create a system that is going to be purposeful about it, be leading in it, change our rhetoric around what it means to be a leader, and then be really, really intentional about providing the education around it. We want to have standard vocabulary. We want to have, we want to be leaders of leaders. Tom and I want to go teach high school classes on leadership and have outstanding opportunities for our kids at that next level. So we've really come up with this a three-tiered approach where we can make sure that we get everybody an opportunity to step up in their leadership.
Any questions?
Questions?
Pretty much zero.
Oh.
Do you want to come up to the microphone, girls, please? Come on back up to the microphone. We've got questions for you.
You're not in trouble.
We just-
I'm fine. So I think you can answer this. I just got two basic questions. So from your experience here, do you use these skills outside of school?
Yes, as in job skills and more leadership skills outside of school where you can help out with the community and instead of just in helping your parents.
Well, kind of not necessarily out of school, but in sports, when we go to different schools, we gotta show leadership regardless of what our school.
Just one last question here. Do you see yourself using these skills out in the future, like when you're in high school and when you're in adult life?
Yes.
So I got one. Thanks.
Do you one of you girls see yourself sitting up here too in the next 2 years? Just a reminder. Thank you. Any additional questions? Thank you so much. It's exciting to hear. We have so many wonderful students, and it just goes to show we are the best of the best, and we have the kids to prove it. Moving on to agenda. Item number 9, Homecoming 2019 overview. I asked Kale to put together a presentation of homecoming because there was a lot of changes this year. We did things different than what we traditionally do, and I thought it would be exciting for us to hear more about this. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll just wait for him to get the presentation up, but.
Ken, I just want you to know that I've been on the school board for 6 years, and I've never had to do a presentation. So.
I'm honored. I'm extremely honored.
Thank you again to all the students who came tonight.
I'm in a class right now called public speaking, so we do a lot of speeches, so hopefully I can use some of my skills. So today I'm going to be talking about homecoming that happened a few weeks ago and the 2019-2020 school year. The first thing that I'm going to be talking about is the spirit days that the student council picked for this year. The first day was media day, which these are all dress up days, of course, and I don't know if you guys pay attention to that. I don't know. But the first one was media day, so that was like anything social media, like there's many social media things nowadays. There's TikTok and like any social media that was very vague. And the second day, Tuesday, was twin day, duo day. So that was picking someone to match with. I know a couple examples would have been people were M&Ms. Me and my buddy were ketchup and mustard. There was just a few things like that. And the third day was USA Day. So red, white, and blue. Neon class day. That one was kind of new this year. The student council threw that together. So usually, most years we do like 80s. So like the freshmen are 60s, 70s, you get the point. And this year we just went with different colors. And Friday was the spirit day, which is just like black and orange. And actually the winner that won the spirit stick that was announced at the assembly was the senior class, unfortunately. But it was close, it was close, it was close. The next thing is the schedule that we put together. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this and a little bit more in the presentation a little later, but community service happened right away in the beginning of the day, and then we took place at the tailgate. And things that happened at the tailgate, I was lucky enough to be able to put together the beanbag tournament, so that was pretty fun. And there's other activities. Usually there's a rock climbing wall, but unfortunately we didn't have this year. But there's also a lot of inflatables that took place. Next was the assembly, and there they announced the homecoming, king and queen, and many other things that the student council put together to represent. After that was the parade, which I got to see, which was very, very, very cool. And after that was the football game, which unfortunately we didn't win, but it's okay. Student council, yeah, I'm the junior class president of the student council, and we put together homecoming each year, and this is kind of just like a shout out to student council because we put many hours into this and time outside of school. We spend a lot of our win time towards this group, and it's very important to how the homecoming plays out. So like I said earlier, we implemented community service into our homecoming this year, and this was a topic by Mr. Wolf and Mr. Jerns that really helped us out with this. We wanted to think about what homecoming really means to the school, and to us that really means being able to include the community, and in the past we thought that that's something that we kind of lacked. So we wanted to bring the community that is coming back home, hence homecoming, and really get them involved in the school and the community. And some ways that we ended up doing that was the student council asked a round of different community service acts and different not necessarily stores, but just like breaking leaves, and just put together a whole montage of different community service projects that we could be doing for the students, and then ended up coming up with what student was going to be doing which activity and so on. And at the beginning of the day on homecoming, we went out for 2 hours and did those community service acts. It was kind of hard to have the students understand why we were doing community service. Like they were like, community service, why are we doing community service on a day that's supposed to be fun? And it was not about the aspect that we're not doing fun things. It's about getting out into the community, and I think that really opened up their eyes, to be honest. It opened up my eyes. I wasn't able to go out and do community service because I was setting up other things because I'm the student council, but I asked many people about their experiences and how it went, and they ended up really liking it. So it was more so getting over that barrier of community service, like they don't want to do that, but it was a really good opportunity for our students to get out into the community and really help out. The sporting events that went on, I'm sure you guys already know this, but we had volleyball, cross country, football, and marching band, and cheerleaders and pom squad at the football game. And that is all. So homecoming went really well, and it was a very, very cool experience to be involved in. So thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 10, certified enrollment.
So I apologize, there's no exhibit for this because literally an hour ago I was still working on it. And it's a constantly moving target, and and we certify tomorrow. So these are still, I want to stress, they're preliminary numbers. There can be some stuff that even changes tonight as we're haggling with some districts over a couple of numbers. There's 2 kids specifically that I know that other districts are claiming actually belong to us, but we are working that out tonight. So 2 things I want to speak about certified enrollment. One, 2 big things that happened this year that I think are very systemic and impact this. Number 1, we lost an employer with 500 jobs, and that is just disastrous usually for school enrollment. And so that was a really big cloud over all the work we were doing. Second of all, we created a new position this year within our Director of Communications, and he is now our Chief Enrollment Officer. And what we mean by that, he's responsible for families that are interested in coming to Charles City and making sure our story gets out, people know how great of a place this is, and really focusing on that story, that narrative, and our brand, and the environment, and the front of house, and the invitational, and all the things that we're doing. So I really want to credit Justin Gore and his people with all the work that he did. We started a project this summer called the Cup of Coffee Project. We knew one way to grow our enrollment is by having cups of coffee with people. So we challenged all our senior leaders, all 11 of us, to have 10 cups of coffee with people and talk about how great Charles City Community Schools are going. So those are two big things that happened. We wanted to be on the offense about how we were going to impact our enrollment. So without further ado, good news is we are up. And what I want to tell you is in seat count, there's two different things. There's seat count, which is literally butts and seats, how many kids we're serving. And then there's also certified enrollment, which includes all of the waiting. So I'm going to start with seat count. We were at 1,504, 1,504 students on October 1st of last year. October 1st of this year, it was up 11 students, 1,515. And what does that translate into certified enrollment? For us, it is going to be, last year at this time, we were at 1,540.62. 1,540.62. This year we are projected, again, we've got to sort out some stuff, it's going to be 1,549.88. So it's going to be a certified increase of 9.26. The other thing we're very proud of is our open enrollment. Now we have not finished all the waiting for open enrollment, so keep in mind some of these open enrollments are fractions because they're open enrolling into our homeschool assistance program. But I got the final numbers from Paige today, Paige Ellsberg, who takes care of this, and we are up 10 in open enrollment net. So we have, she texted it to me, so I'll have to look up. I'm telling you, we were working on this literally right before it came in. I'll give you the numbers. We have 42 students in and 32 out as of now, but we'll check on that. Now keep in mind that's not always going to be the waiting because some of those are our homeschool assistance kids, but we think it's a really great narrative that more families are choosing Charles City than are not. What I'm really proud of is of our current students last year, we only had one student open enroll out. So that means, and we've traditionally had more current students the year before and then decided to leave this year. And what I'll tell you is that was actually a family of 3 that we thought were going to leave all 3, and only one of them actually left, 2 of them stayed. So I think we're just continuing to improve things around here. So what I can tell you is that it's 2 years of increasing enrollment, and we had a major employer close. I just want to credit our team. Our team did a fabulous job, and that means we're going to be in a much stronger financial position this year, and just celebration because my stress is way lower now. I was stressed until about an hour ago, so there we go. Questions you may have?
Superintendent Fisher, is there any particular strategies, we don't want to give away our secrets, but you thought that made a significant impact into our not only retention of students, but actual growth in headcounts, both in near terms, butts and seats?
Technical term, yeah. It's our secret sauce, and our secret sauce is the experience. What happens is we've improved our branding, our narrative, our story, our digital footprint, our social media, and people get interested, and then here's where we hook them. They take a tour, and several board members know that. Take a tour, we'll have you hooked. And here's the thing, it's not facetious. Our tours represent what it's really like. And so, that customer satisfaction is a big thing. And then that word of mouth is big around the community. I was really impressed. Justin has a great story where we just cold called, got an email from a woman who was moving up here with her son to be closer to family. And she was trying to choose in the area where she wanted to live. And she Googled us and said, wow, you guys are doing some amazing things. I really want to check things out more. Justin set up a tour with our student leaders, their student-led tours. And they're happily enrolled at Washington right now. So, tide's changing. We're changing the story, and we're not going to be the best kept secret in Northeast Iowa. We're going to be the well-known secret of why people choose this school district. And yeah, it's all about the experience. It's our people.
Outstanding.
I think it's a fantastic story to tell, and I think we're telling it really well. So Justin, we want to commend you on a really great job. Thank you so much.
I own the steak dinner, actually. That was part of one of our bets. So, and the thing was, and Terry can attest this, we refused to talk about numbers. I know you'd ask me preliminary numbers, but what you learn in baseball is you don't talk about the heater in the middle of the heater. And I'm even hesitant to talk about tonight because I have to hit the certified button tomorrow morning, but regardless, things are looking up for us.
It's not a commonality in small districts like ours. And it's very unusual. And extremely unlikely when you have an employer of the size we have to hear you give us that news today. It's going to make our jobs much easier. The small portion we play in that role. We had some really hard years the first 4 years we were on the board, made some really tough decisions and some really big cuts. It's nice to know we're going to have a reprieve from those for the next few years. Thank you very much. Thank you, Justin. Thank you all, admin team, and thank you, Superintendent Fisher, for having the vision and the dream and the confidence in us that we can do it.
It's a great place. It's a great place to live and have kids, and we just want people to continue to choose us.
Moving on to agenda item number 11. Baseball, softball, that's a tough one for me, right? Baseball, softball, field project, change order number 2. We'd alluded to this somewhat in our crack of the dawn meeting the other day. And the information is in our packets.
This was discussed also in our, by Operations Director Jerry Mitchell at our Facilities Committee meeting. I didn't entertain any questions. Just as an overview, the press box and dugouts we are doing independently of the actual project because we found it's cheaper to use volunteer labor. Our normal concrete contractor is unable, because of timing, to do the concrete footings for the press boxes, and the press boxes have to be finished by the end of the month with volunteer labor because that's where the control boxes for the irrigation and for the lighting go. So the recommendation was to have the current contractors do that, so that's change order 1. Change order 2 is a possible change order. We're going to ask you to authorize it, we may not need it. They're continuing to work on the gas hookup. They may need to cut out a small section of our parking lot and then replace it to get to a gas valve. And then finally, with all the rain and the change with Comet Drive, we just need some additional silt fence. So any questions you may have?
Move to approve change order 2 with Woodruff Construction LLC, an increase of $20,390 and the unit additions associated with the above work changes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve change order 2 with Woodruff Construction LLC, an increase of $20,390 and the unit additions associated with the above work changes. Is there any additional discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Moving on to agenda item number 12, annual report. Mrs. O'Brien.
All right, so in the annual report is a summary of prior year financial information, which we've discussed at other meetings. We've also included the line item budget for each of our funds. So that information will be used in my financial report every month because that report, that line item budget is what we're gauging ourselves against. So are we on track with our revenue? Are we on track with expense? If not, why? So it's an important piece of how we gauge our year as the year progresses. But I'm not going to go into detail about it. It's very detailed. I'm sure a lot of people don't understand, what all is in it, but, the state requires you to tell them by the account number what you're spending on. So it all means something, and you can summarize it to say, okay, for our labor cost, where are we in relation to this time of year? So I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you.
Terry, can I ask one question?
Yeah.
The accounting structure that we use for accounting numbers, that's the same that every district across the state uses, correct?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
And the annual report is online
Yep.
under the board of directors on our website, so anybody can go look at it
Yep.
anytime they want.
Entertain a motion.
Motion to accept the 2019-2020 annual report and approve the line item budget contained in the report.
I have a motion and a second to accept the 2019-20 annual report and approve the line item budget contained within the report. Any additional questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 13, financial report for September 2019.
So that The September report is the first report that we provide to you for the 2019-20 year. It's early, so, you know, it's, things will vary a little bit more because there's not a lot of data in, but I think we're still on target for, you know, what our target is for revenue and expense.
Do we have a projection as to when the new dental fund will potentially be in the black?
You know, I don't.
I know it's not a separate, it's not a separate.
Fund, it's part of the health fund.
Yeah, so it's all in that bank account or
Right.
considered with them. You're just keeping track of it accounting wise separately.
Right.
But I see it took a further dip in the red. I'm just curious if we have any idea when it might go to the black.
When you're self-funded, which we are for dental, you know, claims are going to fluctuate. So if you have more people going at the beginning of the year, because premiums are going to be split evenly throughout the year to pay for it. So we may have had a lot of people in the summertime getting some of their dental work done. Another reason might be, and I haven't verified this, we added voluntary dental. So we've got new people who may not have had insurance before start up the plan, and you know, that may be contributing to it as well. But since we're self-funded, you know, it's hard to say when we would get back in the black.
But if people look at that, even though the dental fund is in the red, it's all part of the health fund, which has 1.6 million.
Right.
So there's money in the bank.
Right.
It's just that specific accounting detail.
Right.
We need to catch up with premiums being added.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the year ends up, but with, you know, self-funding, you know, we're gonna pay our claims, whatever those claim amounts are, and we just keep a running total of where we're at.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the September 2019 financial reports as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the September 2019 financial report as presented. Any additional questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 14, consideration of consent agenda. Remember that just a reminder that we are tabling part of G.
Motion to approve the consent agenda items as amended.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as amended. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Correspondence and miscellaneous. You see upcoming dates listed in there on the back of your agenda. And with that, I will adjourn.